My name is Dorothy Karskadin, and I am a licensed clinical social worker. Welcome to my channel, Aspects of Life. You can go ahead and call me Dory, though. Today's subject will be thinking your anger. So, as you may already know, there are four aspects that I talk about in life: your thoughts, your feelings, your physical responses, and your behaviors. And the reality is that anger is such a complex feeling that it goes over all four of those notes. And you can actually sit and think yourself into anger. You can sit back and think of any subject you want, and you may find that there is an injustice that you feel that you can be angry about. And when you do this, understand that anger is either effective, it motivates you, it helps you to do something constructive, or it's ineffective and creates problems in your life. Unfortunately, for most people, they use anger ineffectually, and it creates additional problems in their life. For those people that they use it effectively, you have mothers against drunk drivers, dads against drunk drivers, teens against drunk drivers, siblings against drunk drivers. These folks use their anger against the injustice of their loved ones being killed by a drunk driver. And they use it to change laws. You have a lot of activists out there who go out and they feel that they think about an issue and they go, I have got to change this. And so that's using anger effectively. It's making a good change. It's when things get out of hand, like the person who you accidentally cut off because you weren't paying attention, and all of a sudden they have road rage against you, and you're like, holy criminy, all I did was turn a little bit closer in front of you and startle you. So that's using road rage, is using anger ineffectively. So let me go through the ways that you think your anger. And what that means is that you sit down and you say, I am angry. That phrase, I am angry, or I feel like I am angry. These are thinking your anger. You have decided you have a perceived injustice. That a perceived injustice is you think something is against you and is wrong. So you feel you have the right to then go and do something about that perceived injustice. When in fact, it's just something that happened because we all live in our own little worlds, and some people are looking left and when you're right, or they are looking right when you're looking left, and you guys collide. And instead of saying excuse me or no problem, or taking a deep breath and allowing the feeling to pass, you have to think about it over and over and ruminate on it and make it something that is worth doing something about, regardless of the consequences. And our jails are full of people who do things regardless of the consequence. Think about that. So there is passive aggressive anger. Passive aggressive anger is when someone stuffs their anger and doesn't express it in a healthy manner. And so they're walking around the house, slamming doors, mumbling to themselves. And when someone says, hey, what's wrong? Are you angry? No, I'm not angry. Oh, if that's not angry, I'm not sure what is. Which all then makes them more angry, even though they're not willing to talk about it. So it's about being able to sit down and maybe journal, and so you can get the words you need to be able to express what was wrong, what upset you. Then there's those folks who have paranoid anger. Paranoid anger is about I'm going to get you before you get me. I'm sure that you are out to get me, so I'm going to get you first. Uh, that can be very surprising to people because they're like, whoa, not sure where that came from. But the person thought about it enough and determined that you were out to get them in one way, shape, or form, and so that made them angry, so they had to get you first. There are other people who have this sudden explosive anger. It's like a volcano going off. Things went wrong at work, someone cut them off on the way home, and they're thinking about stuff at home that didn't go right 3 weeks ago, and they walk in the door and just explode. And when I talk to folks about, well, what was your argument about? I don't know. It's usually this explosive anger where it just is a release in an unexpected time for everyone around them. It's like we were suddenly in an argument. He walked in the door and it was just an argument. I don't understand. And that is actually caused by stress. So if you go ahead and subscribe to this channel, I will talk about in a couple of more sessions anger that is based on your physical responses. And that's where the sudden or explosive anger often comes from. But it starts with thinking that something was wrong, or thinking about the stress at work and taking all of your little anger files that you have up there and putting them all together and saying, poof, and explode at home. Then there's the shame-based anger. Now, shame-based anger has two sides. Either someone is shaming the other person, saying you shouldn't be doing this, this is horrible, you are horrible, you're despicable, or it's the other person trying to cover up their own shame by being angry and saying, I didn't do it in all of this. And that shame-based anger usually just is about name-calling and shaming and putting down another person, rather than actually talking about what shame is, why it's a boundary, and how to stay within the boundaries. Planned anger. Those are the people who are vengeful. They will get back at you, and they will plan this revenge on you. Very vengeful people. They hold a grudge. And when you talk to people who hold grudges, you go, why do you let this person take up room in your head? And they go, because I don't want them to get me again. So planned anger and paranoid anger kind of go hand in hand. And the people who do planned anger even sometimes are bullies who are just picking on someone because they can. Then we have two more. One is addictive anger and one is habitual anger. Fairly similar in that they will get angry. They will think about things that make them angry. On the addicted anger side, they think about these things that make them angry and then get angry because they like the high of being angry. They are throwing hormones into their body called cortisol, adrenaline, and noradrenaline, and they like that high. Whereas the habitual anger, they're thinking about things and everything, except what they do is they learn to just be angry. Those are the people who are always grumpy, always walking around like, because that's what they learn to do. That's how they learn to address life. So both of them kind of look similar, but one actually gets high off of being angry and is like, oh, it's great to be angry, whereas the other one's more on the grumpy side. Then you have people who are black and white. Here are the rules. Follow the rules. Follow the rules. And those people get angry if someone breaks a rule because you have to follow the rules. And that's the moral judgment in them having to follow the rules. They do not see that there may be 2 or even 3 different ways of doing things. You do it right or you don't do it at all. And then the last one that I want to talk about, and I know I'm jumping through these fairly quickly, but it's just to give you an idea to think about whether any of these are applicable to you. But the last one is righteous anger. They use God to tell you that you are wrong. You are a sinner. You're going to burn in hell. And, I'm kind of looking going, the God that I follow, which is the same God that you're telling me I'm going to burn in hell for, is the one who is compassionate and merciful and forgiving and loving. And you say, no, God is judgmental and is going to judge you for every little thing you do in your life. Yeah. I have a problem with those folks. But the reality is that all of these folks are misusing anger, are thinking their anger and allowing it to ruminate and be a little swirl in their head. And so, one of the things I suggest to people all the time is to journal your anger so you can see your anger, so you can decide, is this the way I want to live life? Understand that there are counselors out there who can teach you to use anger effectively. And the wonderful thing about counseling these days is there's a lot of online counseling. There's a lot of what's called sliding scale counseling, which means that you can get your counseling for less expensive if you're unable to afford it. So if any of this thinking anger is what is hitting a note with you, I often say, I am angry, or I feel like I am angry, or you just sit there and ruminate and anger takes up a lot of your headspace. You may want to think about figuring out skills to be more accepting of people in life, to allow people to live their life without you telling them how to live theirs. I hope you enjoyed this session of Thinking Your Anger. We're going to look at feeling your anger, your physical responses to anger, and your behaviors in other sessions. So go ahead and subscribe, and let's talk a little bit more about anger. Bye.